Hey everyone, welcome to the Ceres podcast. Today we've got a fantastic episode lined up as Mark Petrou sits down with none other than Stuart Fusco from Fuscos of Whitby. The Fusco family is behind some iconic fish and chip establishments, including the Fish and Chip Company, which travels around, Quayside Fish and Chips, Fish Box in Whitby and Robin Hood's Bay, and the original Royal Fisheries, and their latest venture, which isn't fish and chips, it's ice cream or gelato, Fusco Brothers Gelato. Mark and Stuart dive into their journey with the Fish and Chip Awards and finally winning the main title in 2014. And Mark goes into a lot more detail than I did when I interviewed Stuart in a couple of years. No, actually, it was 4 years ago. And I think that was on episode 120. So if you want to find out more, go there. But this is a great episode. It's really good. I enjoyed listening to this while I was driving. So let us know what you think as always. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by the Ceres Natural Batter Mix. Here at Ceres, we couldn't be more proud of the Ceres Natural Batter Mix. It's truly what put us on the map. Without it, there just wouldn't be a Ceres. We've gone to great lengths to ensure it's the best, using two specially selected British flours from the Kent, Essex, sort of Hertfordshire region, and a blend of two unique raisin agents for that perfect signature finish. And to keep it authentically British, even our packaging, the paper packaging, which is completely plastic free, is sourced from Yorkshire, East Yorkshire to be exact. The beauty of the natural batter mix is in its simplicity. Just add cold water. If you're feeling creative, you could use carbonated water or beer to give it an extra twist. And in fact, we do supply a lot of pubs with this because they do add beer to it and off they go. Since there's no seasoning added, you have the freedom to season it however you like, or use one of our seasoned pre-dusts to give you even better results. There are no artificial flavours, no artificial nasties, just pure quality. It's a hit whether you're a takeaway, restaurant, whether you've got deliveries, you name it. And our delivery service from our website has a 99.8% hit rate for next day delivery on hundreds of parcels every week. We're making sure that you get what you need when you need it. So head over to www.ceres.shop for next day, free mainland UK delivery, or why not grab it from your favourite wholesaler. Either way, we've got you covered. Now, before we jump into Stuart and Mark's conversation, a quick reminder, special offers, competitions and giveaways, they all happen by being on our mailing list. Just last month, give or take, Martin Robinson won a pallet of Ceres Natural Batter Mix worth over £1,300. So if you want to be next, don't be looking for it on our social media pages. Sign up to our mailing list because all the competitions stay off the social media to avoid scammers, because you've probably all had it happen to you. You set up a special offer for your shop or a competition. Next thing you know, there's some scammer asking people for their details. You can also join the conversation on our podcast discussion group on Facebook. Just search Ceres Podcast Discussion Group. All the links will also be in the episode show notes. On our blog this week, we've posted market reports for wheat. I think that also has a little bit of information about the rapeseed figures. We've done a review on the Radical Candor book by Kim Scott, which is absolutely brilliant. And there's also several articles covering the upcoming budget, employment reforms, and lots of new case studies. If you enjoyed today's episodes, don't forget to share it with your friends, or even send feedback to Mark or Stuart Fusco, because everyone puts their time into this, and we're really grateful. And if you're really feeling generous, why not leave us a review on your podcast player or Apple Podcasts? It really makes a difference. So now, let's dive into today's episode with Mark, Petrou and Stuart Fusco.
joined here with Stuart Fusco. What can I say about Stuart? Where do you begin? Stuart won Young Fish Fry of the Year in 2004. His brother won it in 2009. And he lifted Fish and Chip Shop of the Year in 2014 with his shop Quayside. But that's just the tip of the iceberg of what this guy's done. If you like, they're just a few of the flashpoints. He makes his own gelato. He's got satellite fish and chip shops. He owns Royal Fish Bar as well, which is another amazing chip shop in Whitby. His story starts from a family business that's over 50 years old with his grandma, Violet. If you've not listened to Stuart's podcast with Stelios, which I think is podcast number 120, you really ought to listen to it, because we're not going to go over old ground, but it's an amazing story and it tells you just how much this guy's done. Stuart, welcome. It's really good to have you here. I wanted to set the scene, but before we dive in and start doing questions, because you're one of those guys that you're always at the big events. You're such a big player, but you don't stand out. I've always found you to be quite a reserved man. We've known each other for many years, but everybody remembers bumping into me. But you're very measured. You're a very humble man. Do you think that comes from being part of a family business? Because you've got Raymond, you've got Marie, you've got Adrian, you've got your mum Carol. Is it because you're a cog in a big machine, or is that just
probably, Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably just because, like yourself, in a way, you work at your business and work hard at it, and it's like, I think I'm just confident I know what I do and I do it right, so I don't need to.
You don't need to let off fireworks when
yeah, and obviously everyone's different and everything, and I find a lot of the events really interesting, because you still learn things. So It's quite interesting just to listen and learn and take it all in, as it were. But I probably am quite quiet anyway, and I just enjoy. I don't enjoy jumping around and making a big noise. I enjoy a drink. Put it out.
Maybe I need to take a leaf out of your book. We're recording this the day after the Chippy Chat Open Day, and yesterday I said to a few important people, big wigs in the industry. I won't name them, but I said to a few people, I'm doing Stuart Fusco tomorrow in the podcast, and every single one of them said, "What a nice guy. Give him my regards." So everyone knows you, everybody loves you. And we've known each other for many, many years, but we're like ships that pass in the night. I've nodded to you from across the room, and we've both appreciated things. I think we were both at the opening of the Seafood Temple.
We've all sort of passed each other and sort of said hello quickly, and then there's always other people there who never had a proper sit down, as it were.
So I want to talk about your journey through Fish and Chip Shop of the Year. This is the Past Masters series. But I wanted to do something a little bit different with you, because the last few that I've recorded, I've kind of gone down the same path every time. And I've asked people to share their experiences, but I've kind of let them off the hook a little bit, I think. So I've embraced technology, and I've used AI to come up with some questions to ask you. So at some point, I'm going to throw in an artificially intelligent question that should tease out a little bit more of you.
Yeah.
People don't want to listen to my voice; they want to listen to your story. But let's start at the very beginning, because although Quayside opened in 1999 and went on to win Fish and Chip Shop of the Year in 2014, you're the 26th winner. you have a pedigree and a history of being in fish and chips first, and there must have been a light bulb moment for you when you thought, this is what I want to do, because I'm pretty sure as you were growing up, it wasn't automatically a given that you were going to go into fish and chips.
It wasn't, to be fair, because I went to school and obviously I helped out. I was frying at 13 and weekends and holidays. I was helping my dad, and that's a funny story in itself, because my dad, for some reason, my dad was in hospital for a couple of days, so my grandma took over, and I think I'd only been in the shop for a couple of weeks. And bear in mind, I was 13. I was just helping my dad get set up and everything. And my grandma was there. She says, "Oh, we'll put a pan of fish in." This was just before opening. I was like, "Well, I ain't done that yet." She says, "Well, watch your dad do it. Get on with it." So that was like, right.
Baptism of fire.
Yeah. So like, it was the longest 4-hour shift in my life.
Right.
She just chucked me in and get on with it, and it was like the old school way of doing it.
So she was a no nonsense lady then.
Oh yeah, totally. She was she was known for her bluntness, put it that way. And, and that was like the first time I started frying, but it wasn't. I didn't say I wanted to do it to start with. I went off to university, and it was after university I decided that, when you, what do I do in life and where do I go as a job? And it was, you get the opportunity to go job interviews and stuff, and it was just like, well, I don't really want to work for anyone else. I want to do my own thing. I think that's coming from working with my parents and everything.
What did you study at university?
Geography and environmental studies. Nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with
No. I don't know what I was going to do, but I was just interested in geography and that type of lines, as it were. But I left, and I just didn't want to. I couldn't wait to get into work and do something else.
Yeah.
So it was trying to decide what to do. I came into the business, and I was like learning the office side of things, which I hadn't done before. PAYE, etc. And then obviously Quayside came up at that point, and there was a big decision: is do I stay in this and want to do it? So, and that's I said yeah. So because it was a big move for my parents, because they only had one shop.
That was Royal, was it?
Yeah, the Royal Fisheries. Yeah, so to go to Quayside, you're doubling the size of your business overnight. There's big investment and risk.
Quayside's a huge site as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was the only spot available at the time. So it was like, do we go for this or not? So it was like all or nothing. So we did.
Yeah.
So it was a good decision, and to be fair, I haven't looked back. I've just enjoyed it. Enjoyed the challenge, because pretty much at the time, mum and dad were still working, and obviously my mum was, looking after Raymond and Rio quite young as well.
Yeah.
At the time, so it was just a case of the first season, get on with it. Got Quayside and crack on, and that's it. So I did, and I was 22 when we got Quayside. So it was a case of just get on with it, and I suppose it's the fastest way of learning and getting it right. And obviously you make mistakes, but nothing major, and you just sort of get on with it, and as long as the product's right when it goes out, everything else you can sort of sort out later.
Well, within 5 years, you'd won Young Fish Fry of the Year. So if you were 22 in 1999, you won it in 2004.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your education and journey. Was it all learnt on the job? Is there somebody that you can say was a massive influence, a mentor, or how did you find the Young Fish Fry of the Year and get into it?
Back at the time, the Young Fish Fry of the Year was very much, it was like a long paper involved. You had to sort of fill in a load of essay questions about your business and send some photographs. So it wasn't that easy in a way of, if you weren't very academically sort of minded. It was very difficult, really, I would say, to get in there. And the competition was quite high, I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree. I made the final and never won it, so I have to agree.
Yeah, it was... I think they just attracted, at the time, they attracted a very high caliber. Well, they still do, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it was just different then. I think us people were a bit older, weren't they? I think the cut-off was like 28 or something.
I think it was 30. It might have been 30.
Maybe it was, yeah. So it wasn't, you weren't that young. So you're talking a lot of owner-operators, which were very accomplished in many areas of, the business. So it was a lot, I would say it was more challenging to do.
Yeah.
But we learned a lot. It was the first year I did it. I got through to the final. I just did it I think I saw it in the NFFF magazine. Thought we'd have a go, see what we'd do.
Yeah.
And I got through to the final in the first year. And then, to be fair, you get a lot of feedback on what you didn't do right and everything. And like looking back now, it was like, wow, how did I get, like wooden shelves and, everything. A lot of the processes and everything you do, because we just didn't have any experience of going down that type of road before. And then the year after, I was in the final again, and that's the year Callum won it. And we did a week at the skills show in near Trafford. Salford Keys, that was it. Salford Keys trade show, skills show.
Yeah, 1 year it's up north, then the next year it's down south, and then it's back up north, and
It was really good, that, to be fair. It was really interesting, because you obviously, with all the other finalists, and you do it, you spend 4 days together doing different sections, so it worked really well. And then the year after that, I won it, so it was good. But it was learned a lot through the process, and obviously I learned everything I do now is from my parents originally, probably my dad a lot on the frying side so much. So it was a lot to do with him. He liked things exactly right, and he knew a lot about the raw materials, which is, like, for us, the most important part of what we do. If you get them right, everything else will follow, sort of slot into place. If you can get your raw ingredients in the correct way.
Yeah, you can't hope to get good fish and chips if you're starting with bad potatoes and bad fish.
No, and that's it. And it's all about your processes and everything to get. And it's like my dad always say, if you get your product right, people will come, and you can build your business around that and get it right. So essentially, at the end of the day, people remember if it's good fish and chips or bad fish and chips. They don't remember if it was, a green tile or a white tile on your wall at the time, do they necessarily?
No. I got a couple of things I want to throw into that. One is I was lucky enough to holiday in Whitby last year, and the house that I rented, I didn't realise till I arrived, was right next door to Royal. Exactly, it was right next door. In fact, the kitchen window had smoked glass, but could see into your backyard.
I know which one. Yeah,
and you know which house now.
Yeah,
and when we stayed there, that we arrived late, so I said, let's have fish and chips, because I knew. And I went in, and Raymond clocked me, which was kind of nice. I like being recognised, and my fish and chips were superb. They were absolutely top drawer. Not because Raymond clocked me, because I got the next lot that was coming out. But they were absolutely top drawer, and I thought that speaks volumes. On any day, the stuff you're producing is amazing. And the second thing I want to add is that you talk about your dad being a stickler for processes. Did you designed a way of defrosting fish quickly using flowing water, didn't you?
Yeah, this is my brother.
This is famous. I when I heard about it, I thought this is just inspirational, and I've never had an opportunity to say that's a bit of class, that is. But you're obviously a family that don't rest on your laurels, because
we're always sort of moving on to the next thing and the next what we're going to do next type of thing. I think between us all, we're all quite driven, and because we all are together all the time, we do push each other on a lot. So
it's an amazing environment to be in.
Yeah, it's quite good, because we all sort of push ourselves, and it's quite competitive. But we work well together as a team because we all have our different areas. Whereas Adrian's more the office guy, he prefers more that type of thing. Whereas obviously I do the hands-on stuff, and Raymond does a bit of both, really, the hands-on and a lot of the maintenance and sorting stuff out with buildings and shops. As you know, there's always something to do. So yeah,
does your mum do less these days?
She would say no, but she does a bit less, but she picks and chooses what she wants to do, which is the best way, really.
That's how it should be, really.
Sorts a lot of the staffing out, which is a big job nowadays, as you'll know. Just dealing with all the members.
I don't suppose anybody really messes with Carol, do they?
No, they try to. They get a very blunt out. That's why we like her doing it. She's a bit less forgiving.
So, by now, the listener will be itching to know about your method of defrosting, because I teased about this really cool way of defrosting. Can you briefly just explain what it is? Because it's super cool. It is super cool.
Briefly, well, we put the fish into bags, so it's separate from the water, and we fill a tank. The tank's designed so it produces like a flow around. It's almost like like a tropical tank.
Like a lazy river.
Yeah, it's almost like that. So you get the flow of water around, and it's essentially a heater and a pump that pushes the water around, and you get the flow, and you can work out the time, so it defrosts the fish. Adrian's got the technical spec of it all, but basically the water, you defrost it, and it doesn't go above 1 degree at any point.
Yeah.
So it's totally defrosted and hasn't actually
touched the fish.
Hasn't touched your fish, and it hasn't gone above 1 degree. So and you can do that in about 3.5 hours to 4 hours. So if you get on early enough in the morning, you've got the same day's fish that you've just defrosted and cut. In
a controlled environment with no water, and
you're not wasting loads of water by just running it through it, or just sat in it. You just literally just running a tank of water around. It's heated up. It has a little heater in it, but it's only to take the chill off the water so it doesn't freeze up.
It doesn't form ice.
Yeah. So it works.
So anyone listening who's getting a slab, smashing it on the floor, chucking it in the sink, pouring water on it, shame on you.
Yeah.
No, when I heard about it, I just thought that that it was really super cool that you put that much thought into it, and some of these things, they remain buried and not shared.
Well, it was a needs must at the time, because at the time we were doing everything at the back of Royal Fisheries, and we had the fish box and quayside. We were doing all the fishing in the same place, so it was a case of space. We just didn't have enough space to defrost fish overnight or whatever. We just didn't have anywhere to put it. So it was a case of how can we didn't want to run water because it's not right. In a way to do that. So it's like, how do we're just trying to find a process that works, that you can get the same. So Adrian looked at, well, to be fair, it's all the information's out there. He looked through how Seafish and manufacturing do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Seafish studies on defrosting fish and everything. And he just took their manufacturing processes and basically put them into a small scale environment, which worked. So it's all done on a mass production anyway, that way, or a similar way. I think they blow air over it through air tunnels or something. So
look, it's still super cool. I doff my cap to you for that. I admire the way that you and this comes from the podcast you did with Stelios, that you had a go at making your own gelato, which again I think tells people more about the type of family that you are.
Well, that came about in just before lockdown. We were just looking at our bills for buying in ice cream, which was a lot, and we always fancied doing. I've always fancied having to go at doing. I love ice cream, so I've always fancied having to go. So we decided we would. So I just went out. I just went to the ice cream show.
Yeah, I mean the price that you pay for a scoop of ice cream at Seaside now is, it's
Yeah,
it's incredible. It's good.
that's
Good
it. Which is a
marketing.
short season, but I actually won an award for that in the last ICA awards. I won best newcomer, so I was pretty pleased with that. It's a national.
No, good for you. I didn't know, but
No, no,
well deserved.
yeah,
That is
cheers.
well deserved.
So I was very pleased with that, really, because that's all like blind judging and everything.
So, was the purpose of entering Young Fish Fry of the Year for you, and then for Raymond to win it 5 years later as well? Two brothers winning the same thing. Was that about getting recognition within your own community? About just reaffirming, we're doing everything right. About maybe putting a few more quid in the till. What was the motivation behind entering those?
I think it was more to see where we were at in compared to everywhere else, because we'd only ever compared ourselves to other shops in Whitby, and at the time we didn't really know anywhere else out of Whitby much. The odd shop close, maybe Scarborough somewhere. So it was like, where are we? Where can we get to? How can we make it better? It was sort of the idea. So Young Fish Fry, it was just to say, can I learn any more off anyone else and do that type of thing? Because I think they offered like feedback and everything off it. So that was it, really. And that sort of got us into the like NFFF and KFE and everyone else in the industry, which I, to be fair, didn't know before. So it just opened up a whole world of new people that we could, be friends with and get to know. And it was a real good way of talking about our industry, because you can't talk, like, for I'm friends with everyone in Whitby, like we all get on really well.
Which is nice, really.
We don't talk about work really to each other. You say roughly, "Oh, you've been busy." "Oh, yeah, it's been all right," but no one actually says, "Oh, well, I've been having trouble with X, Y, and Z," or "I haven't done this." So it's quite good to talk to people that aren't in direct competition with you, so you can, pass ideas and and just chat about work without double thinking what you're saying, if you know what I mean, to each other. Is it going to affect my business because he's going to catch on to it? That type of thing, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get that. So the next thing for you after dominating Young Fish Fry of the Year was to enter Fish and Chip Shop of the Year. Now, how many times did you enter that? And was the rationale again just to sort of make sure you're doing everything right and like a free health check for your business, or did you think, well, I've got the taste for this winning award business. Let's see if we can get the trophy for ourselves.
Yeah, it was sort of the logical progression after that. So I've won Young Fish Fry of the Year. Why don't we ever go to the Fish and Chip Shop of the Year and to see where we are with that? And obviously the winning Young Fish Fry brought a lot of publicity, and there's a lot of good press we got off it, and we did really well. The uptake on takings was great after Young Fish Fry. So obviously went to Fish and Chip Shop of the Year, which is a different beast in itself, as you know. And it was, very much an eye opener, because that was proper full on. I think we did it. Was it 9 years? I think
9 years.
About 9 years. Did we enter every year? Yeah, I think we entered every year for 9 years.
That's brutal.
And I think to start with, it was a case of just enter it and see how we get on. And we didn't really prep it. And it was different then, because you had the
voting forms,
comment cards, didn't you?
Yeah.
And so it was difficult to get in, because some people give you like 9 out of 10 for everything. Saying, well, did you like it? Oh, yeah, it was brilliant, yeah. But why did you just give us 9s? Because you can always improve, can't you? It's like, well, it's not really the point.
Can you?
It's not really the point of what we're trying to achieve here. We need to get to the next level. And so it was. We had a few years of them, which I thought they were really a pain in the backside, because once we got past that stage, we did quite, we were up there. I think one year I think it was 2009, we did Royal Fisheries got through to the final.
Yeah.
And I think Quayside and Royal Fisheries were against each other because we entered both shops. And I think Royal Fisheries beat us by 1 mark to get to the final for the area.
So who was running Royal at the time and who was running Quayside?
Well, I don't know.
Did that make Christmas awkward?
No. I think it was down to personal taste because everything was the same, and it was down to the taste and everything of the fish, and they just marked it 1 point different, and it was like, wow, that's just harsh. But I suppose I had to do it different. I couldn't score it the same.
Royal Fisheries again in the industry is probably best known for your crinkle cut chips. Which scientifically has a greater surface area than a straight cut chip.
Not very good for you.
So they're bigger on the outside than they are on the inside.
Yeah, but they taste amazing as you've experienced.
Oh, they're superb.
Does work.
Yeah. Again, another little thing that if I don't mention it, I want the listener to get an idea of the brilliance of the Fusco family from this podcast, because you really are an epic family, an epic team, and the fact that you made a decision to use crinkle cut chips. I don't know if you still do them or not, but using crinkle.
We do. Well, originally the shop when my dad and my granddad bought the shop, they did crinkle cut chips, and apparently everyone did them days back then.
Right.
Back in 19 when it was.
Everything was black and white back then. There was no colour till the 60s.
Well, apparently if you had a straight cut chip, it was classed as a frozen chip. Back then. It was like
perceived.
Then times have changed, and obviously chippers change and everything. So it used to be the other way around. Nowadays, if you got a crinkle cut chip, they think you got frozen chips, the public.
So would it be an old F2F chipper?
Yeah, we've got a bank of them.
Have you really?
We get blade. We've got a load of spare blades, and
I believe they are the best chipper ever made. They are tediously slow, but
the
produce a great chip.
Just the motors sometimes go, but you can replace them. Everything else is original F2F chippers. So which is and
they're museum pieces now, I
think didn't Hopkins make a stainless steel version, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
But it wasn't quite the same as the old school one. So we've still got the old school ones. We've got a couple of them. We've got a few and keep bodging them together
That's amazing.
to keep them going, as it were. But they work really well. But we do crinkle cut chips at Royal Fisheries because that's the one we're famous for there with the locals.
Yeah.
All the other shops are straight cut.
Yeah.
Because people used to kick off that little crinkle and everything else. So we change and that. But they're obviously got quicker chippers and not easy to.
They are slow, the old F2s.
Yeah. So we just do the crinkles at Royal Fisheries.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You got over the line in 2014, well deserved as well, and you actually beat a later winner in the competition into second place, which was Frankie's. Which again, when you the year I won, Anstruther was second, and what an epic shop that is. So you clearly deserved the win. Tell me a little bit about your experience of going to the awards and them actually calling your name out and the circus that happened after that.
Yeah, it was a bit crazy. It was like me and my brother wrote the last one. I have to say, Adrian, he wrote the last presentation. And we were trying to think how to finish it off, and then we did a picture of the takeaway. And it's like, in our presentation, it was like, we just do a picture of the takeaway, and then this is what a customer sees, this is what we see. And then we did a list of, there's maybe like 50 items on it about things like, about the fish, the chips, the prices, the oil, the packaging, the
Yeah.
staff, the training. It just went through everything and pointed to everything in the shop that we think about every day as an employee, as a shop running a fish and chip takeaway.
That's really clever. That's really cool.
And it was just, and we just did it really sharp and fast, and sort of, it was me and my brother did the presentation, so it was big and aggressive. Not aggressive, but firm. Should we say firm?
Assertive.
Yeah, that's assertive. So we came out of the presentation, and it was like, well, that's it. So if we don't win now, we'll never win, because that was,
you threw the kitchen sink at it.
That was everything we do, and everything, we've given it all. And if we don't do it now, we never will. So we obviously we don't know till the next day back then. And, so yeah, it was just a wait and see. But to win it was like, yeah, it was surreal in a way, because it was just chaos and mayhem when you go stage, and then the whisk you away to the media room, and then it's just waiting, and then you're in interviews and everything, as you know, and then you come down afterwards, everyone's gone after you've done all your photos and everything.
They're getting pissed upstairs.
they're all gone. So yeah. I don't think we had a drink till we got on the train, and then you sort of get back. You sort of on the train back later on. You think, well, to get ready for the next day. So early next morning, you're in and expecting the big hit of everyone in, and it's like just a normal day. But then it was like a delayed effect, and it was like, maybe it was about 3 weeks later, all of a sudden, bang, and then I think it was time for the press and everything to filter through, and it was obviously like January time as well, wasn't it? So it takes a few weeks for people to get around to coming to Whitby, and then once it was just amazing. Yeah. Every day was just like,
relentless.
Yeah, it was weird, because you got used to doing a bank holiday every day. It was just, you just got used to it.
You get up in the morning and your shoes are still warm.
Yeah,
from the night before.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good, but it was just crazy, because then like people like rock up, like EasyJet rocked up one day to do a bit of an article, take some pictures and do like a short interview in the middle of lunchtime. Like, having a laugh at you. So it was a case of put a pan of fish in, quickly went outside for a few photos, and it was like, come back in, took the fish out, and they're doing an interview while you're cooking away. I just stood there. I was like, right, okay. That's
amazing.
So yeah, there's all things like that.
Did you get the opportunity to do any TV, or there was a spell where winners got booked onto This Morning? I never did This Morning or anything.
No, like we didn't get. Yeah, we didn't get a chance to do any TV. We were going to. I think we're on the cards, but then they cancelled it the last minute.
Yeah,
someone was launching a book or something. But yeah, it was. So we didn't get a chance to do any TV like that, but we did get we've had a lot of things off the back of it over the years, and we still do, to be fair. We had a German Michelin star chef. What was he called? I can't remember his name, but anyway, it was a program in Germany and Austria called Kitchen Impossible, where the challenge chefs, like Gordon Ramsay type of chefs, whatever, they get to challenge each other. So they get given a dish and they have to replicate it exactly. And then they get like a panel of people that normally eat that dish in a famous restaurant or culinary way, and they have to see which ones does better, or as good as. So you had to copy fish and chips, which for us it doesn't sound that difficult, but
no,
when you're a chef looking at it from the outside, it's not that easy. First he brought because they normally do it in like a normal kitchen, but because obviously fish and chips you need a deep fat fry, you had to do it quayside. So we gave him a pan on the range, and it was a quiet time of year, so I was cooking in the other pan. So he was doing all his prep work on the morning and everything, and all his beer. He brought a case of John Smith's and started pouring that into his batter and sparkling water and all sorts. Right. And I was like, wow, okay. So I was like, they were filming it, and I was just kept walking in and taking the proverbial pee out of him. I thought
Yeah,
it was funny.
it's kind of typical for a chef to take a pretentious approach to fish and chips and overcomplicate it, isn't it?
Oh, he really overcomplicated it. So then he walked in. He couldn't do the peas, so he walked in with a tin of mushy peas, didn't he? So I gave him some real abuse about that.
Shocking. Oh, you good. I'm glad you got the satisfaction of doing that.
He was boiling chips and drying them out and all sorts of weird things. Anyway, the fish and chips were absolutely awful. To be fair, he did the tartar sauce. We do our own tartar sauce, and that was nearly exactly the same. He was. Okay. You could tell he had a good palate, and you could tell he was good at what he did, but he just couldn't do fish and chips. He was Austrian.
Probably blitzed up some sauerkraut and added some mayo to it, and that's got to be fairly close anyway. Just
yeah. To be fair, I was watching him do it. He wasn't far off with his tartar sauce. It was really very close to what I did. So fair play to him, he did that. But the fish and chips were not
shocking.
Yeah, they were. Well, yeah, he came in like a black chef's top and trousers. And he had batter and flour all over and everything. And he was just like sweating or something. It looked stressed out. It was funny.
Looked like a painter's radio.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Apparently, it was the most watched episode in Germany.
Really?
That they'd ever had on this Kitchen Impossible. It was hilarious. Apparently,
we might be able to find that on YouTube.
Yeah, it probably will actually.
worth a watch. I remember recording something for German TV on Billingsgate Fish Market, and they dubbed me into German, and I sound quite sexy with a strong German accent. That's available on YouTube, and all the way through recording it, I kept thinking to myself, "Don't mention the war, don't mention the war, don't mention the war." And as soon as the cameras started rolling, I said, "Fish and chips wasn't rationed during the Second World War." It just came straight out. So yeah. It was not my finest moment, but they dubbed that into German anyway. No, they're always fun things to do off the back of.
We've had loads of opportunities to do different things, so it has been really good. It was a really good mini. Yeah, definitely experience.
Are you the only shop in Whitby to have won Fish and Chip Shop of the Year?
Yes,
I think you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which is, again, when you consider that Whitby is the adopted spiritual home of fish and chips. I mean, it really is the mecca. If you want everything that makes a fish and chip experience magical, go Whitby. Everything is there.
Yeah, there are some really good shops in Whitby.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why it's good. We're all similar mindset, and we're sort of pushing each other and raising the bar, and just a competitive edge all the time. You're just trying to get better.
One of my mates is Graham Reed Stevenson, and he's up at the Khyber Pass there, Fisherman's Wife. And I think the view from his restaurant is exceptional. But I think of all the shops in Whitby, you've got the best spot. Where you are on that drag there is just it's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's really good spot.
Place. Yeah, they come around the corner. It's quite a striking building as well.
Yeah,
so it works well.
And nobody else has done what you've done, which must make you walk a little bit taller when you're out and about. So I'm going to give you one of these AI questions. I'm a technophobe. I can just about manage an email, but I asked AI to come up with some questions for a podcast, and it came up with 22 questions. But one of them is, looking back, were there any decisions or risks that you felt uncertain at the time but paid off in the long run? Was there anything where you think, I really had to take a gamble with that, and it paid off?
Well, I think the first one was buying Quayside. It was a bit of a gamble. It was run down. It was before Whitby was sort of as popular as it is now. It was sort of just on the cusp of getting there.
Well, the year you won with Quayside, there was a tragedy, wasn't there? Some flooding, and a couple of fishermen were found dead in their boat.
It was back in '99 when we bought it. It was just it was a big risk for the family to do, because my parents put everything into it, and if it went wrong, it was it was a big risk really. But that was probably the main one. I don't know. I think as a business owner, you're always going to try things and do things a bit of a risk sometimes. That's the way, and they don't always pay off. I can't think of any things that don't necessarily.
Okay.
But
so that was probably the biggest
one. That was probably
the
biggest risk we've taken. Yeah.
Okay. Here's another question then. What are some common mistakes you see newcomers making in the industry, and how can they avoid them? So you must obviously, now you're a well-respected fish fry. There must be people come to you and say, or you go out. I'm the same. Whenever I get a chance to see a new shop, I always take the opportunity. What are the clangers that you see when you go to a shop and you think? I actually trained someone who, and again, we have to be discreet here. I won't name any names. His batter, he used egg whites.
All right.
Purely. That's all he used, egg whites, and a twig of this and a sprig of that and a sprinkle of this. And I said to him, "What happens when you run out in the middle of a Friday night? You're not." This batter has taken you 2.5 days to prepare, and what you're doing with all the egg yolks, it was a nice light batter, but it just wasn't fish and chip batter,
Yeah.
Have you ever seen or been to a shop and you thought, no, you've overbaked this, you're just too polite to say, aren't you?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I've helped to the NFFF a few times in their training courses, and you get a lot of new guys into industry coming into it thinking that's I'm going to do this because I've seen other people do really well out of it, and I just thought if I put a manager in and just do, do like pre-packed chips and counts fish and. It'd be fine. I won't have to do anything, and that's a totally wrong way of doing it. Totally wrong attitude. I think you need to be able to do it yourself for a start, and it's not an easy business. It's like antisocial hours, and I think people just think they see the end product of the rewards that you can have and do well, but they don't see all the time and effort you put in beforehand, and you just think it's easy. Too many people have opened up shops in Whitby like that as well. They come and go really fast.
Yeah,
they just think it's easy.
You make a valid point. The key to the success of a chip shop can quite often be the attitude that you put into making the product, sourcing the right raw materials, and if you try to de-skill it and automate it too much, try and make it like a McDonald's. Actually, other burger brands are available. You try and make it like one of the multiples.
There's ways and means of doing it, but I think if you're starting out and just think that's what I'm going to do from day one, and for it to work and be successful, I think the chance of it happening is very small. I think you need a lot of experience in that to try and work up to that point where you can. Be in it less and do less at it, because you've put all the processes, all those pitfalls and hiccups on the way. So you're just trying to run before you can walk, as it were. There's too many people do that, I think, in the industry, and end up with bad product, bad management, and maybe bad. End up closing quite quickly, don't they? Because they just don't have that attitude, I think.
It's good to be consistent, and it's good to have systems, but not at the cost of quality or compromising on quality. And so you've got to get your procedures, your product, your practices, and everything right first before you can look at making it nice and consistent. You can't. There are no shortcuts to quality, are there? You can't. Yeah. And I think you're absolutely right.
Another one I've seen. It was I won't say when it was, but sometimes KFE people come and look at our range and everything when they're buying a range, which is,
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to show people, and I like to have a bit of interaction and help people in making their decisions. But they're like, want too many pans or something, and
Yeah.
it's like the KFE guys are really good in the way that they'll say, well, no, you only need, say, for example, 4 pans. You only need 4 pans. You don't need the 5th pan. It's too much. And no, I need it because I can only get 6 fish in at a time or something. And it's like, wow, you only get 6 fish in. And it's like, you need to look at the way you're cooking, I think.
Yeah.
Or they're wanting like 30 baskets blanched up or whatever. And I say, no, you just don't need to do that. You're just buying way too much equipment and you're just like setting their ways. That's why we did it on our last shop. Yeah, but you're working with a 40-year-old range or something. It's not like it is now.
Yeah, and having more pans and having too many pans on, all you're asking to do is throw away oil, and because if you have too many pans on and it's not busy enough, you just don't. Everything goes to pot.
Yeah, everything just works better when it's being used more, isn't it?
Yeah,
you get the oil, turning the oil over. It's just you get a better product. It's just hotter and it's just better, isn't it?
Yeah. You did an article in the Yorkshire Post because I have stalked you before today, and you put some of your success. I mean, you've always highlighted your team, the people that work for you. At the time, I think you said you had 30 working for you in this particular article, and you've always made a point of sharing the spotlight and the success and the accolade with those people. But you also put down your success to frying in beef dripping and to having your pan temperatures right. You've always said frying at a high temperature and using beef dripping gives you the flavour and the crispness to your product. Do you still stand by that after all these years? You still believe that these things are?
Yeah, we fry oil at Quayside now, and we decided to make a change 4 years ago. Well, in lockdown, we decided to make a change. So more and more people were asking about being vegetarian and everything.
Yeah.
It's still a decision that we still toy with.
Yeah.
We've always, with the fish boxes, we've always done them in oil, and that's fine, and it sort of works. And Royal Fisheries will always be beef dripping.
Because it's more of a shop for locals. It's probably got a year-round core customer base.
Yeah, and we'll never change that because it just works. But with Quayside, we have toyed. We're on oil. We have been oil for 4 years, but there's still something in me would like to go back to beef dripping.
Yeah, is that that's a personal thing rather than a commercial thing?
Yeah, it's very much so. Yeah. But we still, to be fair, the oil it just fries the same. We fry at 180. Our fish and chips. Well, finish the chips off. We blanch first.
Yeah.
We finish off at 180, and we work on the fact that it doesn't drag as much oil into the product. It's sort of slightly healthier, and I think you get a better product personally. But I say that everyone's different. There's no right or there's a lot of right ways to do it. Not necessarily my way; it's just the right way. There is several different right ways.
I always say success doesn't come from selling what you want to sell; it comes from selling what people want to buy. And I think that consumers' attitudes are changing to lots of things, and making the switch on oil at Quayside is probably absolutely the right thing to do, because you have so many people. It's such a diverse visitor to Whitby. It's not. Not everybody's got a flat cap and a whippet.
No.
It's
bizarrely, only one person ever said anything, and it was a regular customer. He came in. It must have been 2 days after we did it, and he came in and he said, "There's something different. You're doing something different now." I'm like, "Yeah, we cook in oil now." He says, "Oh, it's not bad. It's just different. It just tastes a bit different to what it normally does." I was like, "Wow!" And that was like 2 days. So I was a bit thinking, "Is this right?" anyway, no one else since has actually said anything, has commented on it.
Well, my youngest daughter, she won't thank me for this, but she's 17 and she's a goth, which means that if I get up in the middle of the night for a wee, I can quite often bump into Alice Cooper wandering around the halls, wandering around the landing upstairs. She only wears black. She's a nocturnal creature.
Yeah.
But we just had a week in Staves, just up the road, and we couldn't go there without her coming to Whitby, going to the Abbey, and having a photograph taken inside a coffin. But Whitby has this other side to it, as well as fish and chips, where obviously Dracula was written in Whitby, and there's a massive pilgrimage of the alive undead.
Quite twice a year,
yeah. When I said, family holiday this year, we're going up near Whitby, she's like, I'm in, I'm on. Yeah. She couldn't wait to come, but I guess you have to cater for all tastes, don't you? And choosing oil that you're going to fry, the frying medium, not the oil. Quayside is just more in that kind of day tripper touristy part of Whitby.
Predominantly tourism, what we do,
where you need to be able to cater for a wider type of selection of the community. And then Royal is, if you didn't know where it was, you could miss it. But when you know it's there, you want that's your chippy.
So it gets a bit of a cult following, does Royal.
It's a busy shop. It's I'm not the tax man, but if I was, I would rent that house again because you've got there's a steady stream of people coming in all the time, and
it's a good shop.
And the fish and chips are really, really tasty from there. I've not had Quayside fish and chips, but I will next time I come up. I'm sure they'll be just as good, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm going to give you another AI question. These aren't bad, they're better. I think they're better questions than I would have come up with on my own. Here's the next one. How do you handle the stress and long hours that often come with this profession? Any tips for maintaining the balance?
God.
Just do as your wife says. Is that how you maintain the balance?
I don't know if they maintain a good relationship by not being
here. I mean, you can, if you wanted to, you could be at work all the time, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. And in the summer, it's summer holidays. It's like I'll be doing sometimes 6-day weeks. So it's like, and then like there'll be like there was a few weeks where I was doing like 16-hour days.
Wow.
5 days, a few hours less on the 6th day, but yeah.
And you're good for nothing on day 7 anyway. I've got a day off, but all you want to do is nothing.
Yeah, that's it. Well, my wife's used to it as well. We've been together for a long time, so we've been married for 19 years. We've been nearly 25 years. We've been together. So it's a while. So she knows me. So we get to a day off, and she'll say, "Oh, we're doing this today," which is fine because, like you say, I'll be like tired and spaced out. So she'll just decide, and then I'll just have to go and do it, and that's it.
Put on a pair of shoes and just.
Yeah, but it's not so bad when we get to winter because we go down to less hours, and so I'm around.
Do you go away? Do you normally sort of jet off somewhere?
Normally January time we get some time away usually, but not always. It's difficult with the kids because they're getting older, so it gets a bit more difficult with time off because son needed his GCSEs in the summer, so we went away just after his GCSEs, so that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
So first time I've ever had a holiday in June. which is bizarre.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is,
It's
yeah,
normally
especially where you are.
yeah, it's normally December or January I get away. So yeah,
Okay.
but I do. Yeah, I have dogs, so I take them out for a walk. I do winter hobbies of. I'm into game shooting and things, so take the dogs out and it gets me outside through the winter
Yeah,
when it's normally raining and that. So I quite enjoy that. It's good fun.
yeah.
So otherwise, you'd be sat at home, wouldn't you, doing nothing. I used to play a lot of rugby, but I'm too old to play that, so I had to pick something else.
That you've got a lot of hills in your part of the world, and whenever I leave the fens, um, I always suffer. My daughter says to me, your fen is showing, because we're not used to walking up or down hills, and it's a very interesting terrain. Staves, especially. I mean, we
Oh
used to
yeah, yeah.
we parked at the top and had to walk down, and I was like, first world problems. Surely we must be able to get a taxi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you do get used to hills. Everywhere you go around here, you have to go up a hill. So yeah, you just get used to it. Was it Richard Turner? He sometimes comes up. He says, "Well, mountain goats up here."
he likes his shooting as well, doesn't he, Richard?
Yeah, so I've had him along a couple of times, and he said, "You're all just mountain goats around here." And he said, "You can't understand, or just walk up a hill, near vertical."
That's brilliant. What's the best bit of advice you've ever received from a fellow fish fryer, or who has been like a big influence to you? There must be someone when you've got a dilemma. Who do you normally reach out to?
Oh. Usually, my brothers. We don't really have.
You
Any,
don't hang your dirty washing out. You deal with it. You deal with it as a
yeah,
family.
generally, yeah, we don't generally between us. We can usually work it out and sort it out. To be fair, obviously we talk to a lot of guys in the industry, like yourself and Callum and Gordon, and there's lots of people who we do talk to. But so issues like that, I think we just tend to internally sort it out between us.
Yeah,
So that three heads are better than one, as it were. Uh, yeah, it's a difficult one, that, to be fair. We do tend
yeah.
to just work. We like a challenge and a problem like that, so that's what we do. So we just tend to work it out and how we can get best around it and do it. Really,
What's next for you? Have you got any anything on the go, or is it all top secret and classified? And this is a two part of this question. Um, how do you see the industry shaping and evolving over the next sort of 5 or 10 years?
I think. Well, what we've got on the cards, we are looking at maybe expanding at some point, probably sooner rather than later.
That's exciting.
So hopefully we can get, but we don't know exactly where yet.
So you're on the lookout for the right opportunity.
Yeah, I think we always are. I think it present all our expansions in the past have been sort of a natural progression of just opportunities just appeared.
Organic.
Yeah, at that point. So we're probably at the stage where we could probably look to move on again. But so it's just waiting for the right opportunity to come forward. Really, I think that would be the next thing. And there's obviously the ice cream to grow. That's the next another thing. I would like my own ice cream parlour, but I don't know if we have time or to do that.
Well, I think it's a much cooler job, isn't it? It's not as hot
Oh, I don't know. It is
to
because
do.
all the equipment, it's all like freezing everything down, so it's belting out heat out the back. It is get
Yeah,
quite hot and it's always in the busier you are, the hotter it is outside, the busier you are doing ice cream. So
yeah,
it's a bit like all or nothing. The ice cream, it's a bit weird. You can't get too far ahead with it because it's better fresh, even though it's frozen product. It doesn't make sense, but
yeah.
it's better being not very old.
Do you have like a little book of recipes? Because I know another fish fryer who started his career in ice cream. That's Ian Wallace from Henry's in
Oh
Hunstanton.
yeah. I spoke to
I
him.
think you know Ian as well,
Yeah,
and he's got this little book, and it's got all of the amounts of this amount of that syrup, this amount of that,
yeah. You
and it,
start to build up one, and
yeah, and he's got a book of recipes, and that's his Bible, and yeah, you don't get anywhere near that. He keeps
yeah.
all of it.
I have developed. I am developed. I am on with that. I'm building that up as we go. Yeah, so it's getting
Fantastic. What's your favourite flavour of ice cream that you've invented?
I knew you were going to ask this. That I've invented. I don't know if
Yeah,
I've invented it. I love the sour cherry. Just the
yeah.
cherry ice cream, just amazing. It's what sort of the first one I started to do, and it's one of the easiest to do as well. Which is just rippling in the sour cherry, but it's so nice.
Yeah,
Well, like
brilliant.
anything chocolatey, chocolate orange, anything like that, it's just
I,
good.
ne- I never met an ice cream I didn't like.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I think the only one. I think it's easier to say what I don't like. The only thing I don't like is Turkish delight. I just don't. I refuse to make it. I just don't like it.
is it the rose or is it the
I
texture?
don't
Or
know. I think it's just the perfumey flavour. I don't think it's just
yeah,
like right. But that's just a personal thing, really.
that that's perfectly okay. So, where
Yeah.
do you see the fish and chip industry going? Do you have positive thoughts about it? Are you
Yeah.
optimistic
Well,
about it?
yes and no. I think the shops that are doing well, and the shops that are good, the good shops will do well. I think it's an interesting time at the moment. I think some of the shops that aren't doing as well as they should will be dropping by the wayside. I think maybe because I think the prices of everything and customers being more discerning with their pence and pounds, whatever. I think they tend to go to the shops that are good operators. I mean, like a good product, not like the look or anything. I think people go for the product,
Yeah,
and I think them shops will do well. Uh, you get people like Just Eat and people. Always, they haven't managed to get into it, be delivery or Just Eat, but they're always
good.
approaching around there, and I just don't think there's enough business from in the winter to want what they do. I
There's
don't.
not enough margin as well to give up
No,
30% to someone.
yeah, I think it's nuts, and then you've got to put say even if you put that onto you put in 30% onto your prices just to get it delivered. It's I don't think people do that around here. They'd
No,
rather come and pick it up themselves.
yeah.
It's not
Is
that
it?
far.
I think and you can agree or disagree. I think fish and chips is priced where it needs to be priced. It still represents great value for money, but for too many years, we were afraid to put prices up, and it was too cheap. And I
Yeah,
think that there's now been an adjustment, and fish and chips is where it needs to be now. Simply because fish and chip shops would go under if they didn't. But I think there's a little bit more levelling up still to do. I think consumers need to recalibrate and get used to the fact that you know everything's going up, the cost of living crisis, and nothing is as cheap as it used to be. And there's
no,
always a generational shift, and people, the idea that fish and chips. I remember when there was a £5 barrier that we struggled to break through, and then there was the £10 barrier, and now fish and chips needs to be. It's still cheaper than lots of other takeaway options, but yeah, would you agree with that
yeah,
assessment?
I'd agree entirely. But I also think that we don't help ourselves in the industry with like things like portion sizes. I think
Yeah,
portion sizes need to be a lot more standardized, and I'm not meaning to. I mean in a way that it can just help everyone.
I think you're right. Yeah,
if you can say like a medium, small, medium, large, or small, regular, large is, and I think the NFFF are pushing for this. Andrew Cook was on about it, and I think it's a good thing because I think there's too much variation in some people. Just give so many chips away, and it's like you're just giving away profit, and it's like. Not that our portions are small, but people say, "Oh, is that all the chips I get?" It's like I can't eat all them. You really eat that portion.
Yeah.
And it's like with fish, and I think if you standardise it more, they do with pizzas. It's a 10-inch, 12-inch. I know it's easy to do that, but why can't we do a rough? It doesn't have to be approximate. And
I totally agree.
You can price it how you want, but if you sort of standardise the sizes, people, I think, will be slightly more tolerable of.
Yeah, they'll know what they're getting, and then they can choose whether they want to pay the price for it or not, because they know a medium is not going to feed a family of 4. Because there is some people can buy a standard portion of chips and feed a family of 4 with it.
That's the problem.
Those operators need holding underwater till the bubbles stop.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably they're the operators that won't be around for much longer. I would have thought.
I think you're right.
The price of the commodity, you just can't afford to do that, and it's like some people moaning that they maybe can't make any money. It's like, well, if you look at things like that, it might help you out a bit,
Yeah.
Give half a bag of potatoes with each portion of chips. Just crazy.
So you're quite progressed in your career now and in your fish and chip journey. For those that are listening to the podcast that are maybe just getting into this or have not been in it that long, do you have any particular advice you would give them to from your years of wisdom that can help them along the way?
I think it's looking. I see you said touched on it before. I think it's looking at your raw materials. So you have to be happy. Well, I've always said this to this. I always say this to the staff, saying you need to serve a portion of fish and chips that you're happy to eat yourself. If you wouldn't eat them, why would you serve them? And that's the core of what we do. So you need to make sure the fish is right. So we're not talking about the most expensive fish. You get it, the affordable fish that you can buy, but the quality that is right. And same with the potatoes, and get your batter right. There's plenty of batter companies out there that can help you with that and getting the right one. There's no excuse to have the wrong batter. And it's keep trying them as well. It's like just because you've got the right one now doesn't mean that it changes or the way you do things change. So it's good to keep trying different ones now and again. You never know what might happen, and you just find a better one. And just keep trying, keep going at it with a fresh approach, I think, rather than just sit back and think, well, I'm doing it. But we revisit everything regularly just to make sure we're doing it right and that we're happy with it.
Never be satisfied.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's predominantly what we do. We just want it right. And everyone has good days, everyone has bad days, but it's like you said earlier, it's being consistent, and it's being that 80-85% right all the time is hard to do. That's what you need to achieve, I think, is just getting it right all the time.
Yeah. Is there anything that you know now that you wish you'd known at the beginning? Like how much your back hurts?
Trim people soon, yeah.
It is a young man's game, really. The age creeps up on you really quick, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I find doing the long days now is tiring in the summer.
Yeah,
I think this year is the first year I've found it hard.
Do you like a nana nap in the afternoon? Do you ever try and?
No, I've never had the. I would like it, but I've never had the opportunity.
Well, take it from somebody who's got a few years on you. 20 minutes is nice.
Yeah.
Any more than 20 minutes, and you feel like you've been hit by a truck. So if you
stay as long in the office.
I've got a gift. If you count down from 10, I won't even hear 7 or 6.
Yeah.
I can fall asleep on a chicken's lip. I can fall asleep really, really quickly.
Oh, that's a good talent.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
But I like 20 minutes in the afternoon.
Right.
But if I have 25, I'm an arsehole. I'm terrible. I'm really no good at all. But 20 minutes is perfect. You should try it.
I do. I usually get to about 5 o'clock, around 5-ish. Is my sort of like
you slump.
About an hour. I could just sort of really find it hard to get through that hour sometimes, and then you're like,
and then you're okay.
That. Yeah, then I'm all right till finish, But yeah, I have to try that. Go to my office for 20 minutes now.
So, if people want to know a little bit more about Quayside or Stuart Fusco or the Royal Fish Bar, where can they find out more about you? Are you on LinkedIn? Or do you have a Facebook page, a website?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. We've got a website. We have a website for our businesses. Yeah, and pretty much the family history's on there and what we do and the whole thing. I think really is on there. I think.
I urge anyone if they get an opportunity to go to Whitby, soak up the magic that Whitby's got to offer, but definitely come and spend some money in your shop.
Definitely. if anyone's new to the industry or if you want any help or advice, I'm always open to help and come and look at what we do. Just spend an hour or whatever just to come and see what we do and how we do it. And I think that type of thing, I think just the visual aspect of looking at it and seeing how other shops work just helps you in your own sort of journey to move forward. I think the more people, the more you can visit different shops and different scenarios. I think it just helps you get your own shop in your own head, how you'd like to make it better and work better.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. I've really enjoyed it. It's gone really quick, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It certainly has for me. I know you've got a really busy day ahead as well. I think it's a really good place to finish. Thank you for sharing and giving us your time. And
thank you. Yeah, it's been good.
I can't wait till the next time I see you face to face, and I can. It will be at a bar, 100%. I can't wait.
Usually, probably will. Yeah, we'll have to have a drink. Make sure we have a drink together. Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to that very much. Thank you again, Stuart Fusco. Thank you so much.
Cheers, bye.